Dear friends, I'm remembering 28 years ago, on the October the 19th, it was a Sunday, it was World Mission Sunday, like today, and I was in France on pilgrimage, like today. 28 years ago, I know that's even before you were born, Harry. And it was the day Thérèse was declared a doctor of the church, and I was in Lisieux. I guess the second best place you could have been that day, the first best place being in Rome, where that event was taking place. Later in the week, I'm going to tell you how influential this spirituality of the Sacred Heart was in Thérèse's life, how that stream of influence came. The apparitions took place here in 1670s. She was born in the 1870s, so 200 years later, but we see in her life by then the enormous influence of the spirituality of the Sacred Heart in the life of the church and in her life in particular. Thérèse was declared doctor, means teacher, and she can teach us many things, but I want to focus on two things. She's the doctor, first of all, of divine love. Love is the engine of her spirituality. It's all about love. Her motto was, "Love is repaid by love alone." It's words of John of the Cross. Love is repaid by love alone. And the revelations of the Sacred Heart to Margaret Mary are all about the God who wants us to repay his love, who wants us to return his love. As she knelt in this chapel, she saw Jesus tear apart his chest to reveal a burning furnace, and at the heart of that furnace, his glowing heart. And he said to her, "See, behold this heart, which has such love for mankind and for you in particular." And dear friends, I hope we'll hear that for ourselves this week. Because Jesus wants you to know he wants your love, yours in particular. He's never been loved in quite the way that you can love him, with the unique dimensions of your own heart. He wants your love in return for his love. I was telling the parishioners in Marlow on the Feast of Margaret Mary last week, I had a crush on a girl in primary school. I still remember her name. Julie Noon was her name. And I think it was probably the first time I've ever experienced what it might mean to have a crush on someone. So I sent her a Valentine's card that year, covered in kisses. Do you know? She sent it back with the kisses crossed out. You can tell I still haven't got over it. But it's like this, you know, those of you who have experienced unrequited love will know how Jesus feels. He wants so badly to be loved. And this is, I'll say some more later this week about this, but there was a point of grace where Thérèse had this, where she suddenly realized how he wanted her to love him. He wanted that love, and he wants that love from each one of us this week. So hopefully we can sense a grace of wanting to return the Lord's love. So Thérèse, doctor of divine love, but also doctor of daring prayer. The kind of prayer that won't take no for an answer. The kind of prayer that we just heard about there in the Gospel, about the parable of the importunate widow. That word, importunate, simply means no rest. She gave that judge no rest until she got what she wanted. And that's the kind of prayer Thérèse teaches us, the kind of prayer that feels cheeky, but which charms the heart of Jesus. He loves us to stand up to him. And it's the prayer that Margaret Mary knew, and it's the prayer that her spiritual director, her confessor, knew and wanted to encourage her to pray. She was uncertain whether this was right, whether it was polite. Well, it probably wasn't polite. But he said to her, Jesus wants you to tell him exactly what you feel. He wants a heart-to-heart with you. And some of your best prayers won't sound like prayers, but they'll come from the heart, and therefore they will touch the heart of Jesus. I found a homily that her spiritual director, by the way, that's him. In the bottom left-hand corner, St Claude de la Colombière. We'll talk about him later in the week too. But here's a snatch of his homily about this obstinate trust that Jesus desires from us all. He says, "Consider the workings of divine providence and think that the refusal you meet with now is only God's stratagem to increase your fervour. Remember how he acted towards the Canaanite woman. Do you remember the one who said, when Jesus refused to heal her daughter, she came back to him and said, yes, but. Jesus loves that, yes, but. He loves the prayer that won't, as I say, take no for an answer. He continues to be irritated by her importunity, but in reality, he admired it and was delighted with her trust. So he says, do not lose courage when you struggle with God. Do not give him a moment's rest. He loves the violence of your attacks. He wants to be overcome by you. Make importunity your watchword. Let persistence be a miracle in you. So, dear friends, at the beginning of this pilgrimage, I invite us all to renew our faith in the power of prayer. The kind of prayer Thérèse teaches us, Margaret Mary teaches us, St Claude de Colombière teaches us. The kind of prayer, as I say, that won't take no for an answer. Why does Jesus love it so much? Because in that prayer, he sees the reflection of his own obstinate love. The love that even on the cross would not take no for an answer.